Yeah, my name is Jay and welcome back to Bumi Reptile Sanctuary. Today we're going to be working on our ostrich habitat, and the main restaurant of our park is going to be called the Boathouse, and it's going to be located on the shores of this lake. And if you've noticed during the opening cinematics, Bumi Reptile Sanctuary has changed massively between episodes. While I was between episodes, I worked quite a lot on a lot of the terraforming work and the terrain around the park. What I've done is I've increased the water area quite significantly, so the lake is significantly larger now, and there's a lot more river networks that kind of go around. I didn't want this to look overly natural. I wanted it to look like a man-made lake. I imagine in the past this must have been used for maybe mining operation or something, and eventually filled in, became a lake, and has been taken over now as a reptile sanctuary. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. I've also increased the amount of foliage. I've started working on the forest that surrounds the park. I think that's going to be quite a cool thing. Eventually I might add a little woodland walk for people to just kind of walk around the forest and enjoy themselves while at Bumi Reptile Sanctuary. And yeah, so also other than that, I've also done a little bit of work. I made a little bridge from one island to the next. That's going to be quite a common theme, I think, as we go along. We're going to have these little bridges that connect the islands, not for guests, but mainly for staff members to kind of do their work behind the scenes. I've also started adding in these little docks here and there for boats. These are not going to be for guests, but for staff who want to transport materials across the different lake islands, so materials like animal food, that sort of thing. And I thought that was a cute little idea. Don't know how realistic it is, don't know if any zoos in real life do this, but it seemed pretty cool, so we'll see how that pans out. I might add even more in the future, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, this episode's quite a big one. The ostrich habitat in itself isn't particularly exciting. There's not that much we can do with it. The ostriches like a big grasslands, big open area with not an awful lot of foliage. I added a bit more rock work so they have more surfaces to kind of run on and climb on, and a decent amount of enrichment for them. I've added a couple foraging pits, which you'll see as we go along. But as far as the ostriches go, it's a pretty simple habitat, so it's not an awful lot to talk about. The main focus of this episode, however, is the restaurant. I decided to build this really large modern restaurant on the shore of the lake because I thought, this would be a cool place to have when you cross the bridge and you can have your lunch before you explore the rest of the park. I really had a lot of fun building it. It's quite a big restaurant. It has several kind of areas where you can view both the ostriches and the lake, which will eventually be part of the crocodile habitat. So you'll be able to have your lunch while looking out into the crocodile habitat, and hopefully they're not having lunch or you might lose yours. But it was so much fun. I added this long walkway which has an angled viewing platform into the lake. I really love that. I think that turned out beautifully. And eventually that led to me giving the restaurant the name The Boathouse, because it looks like a really big fancy boathouse without any actual boats. But it was a lot of fun to build. Again, using a lot of the same materials we've used for the rest of the park, so we keep things quite homogeneous. We have a lot of these wood pieces, a lot of these wood roofings, as well as some of the dry stone walls for the bottom, and some glass as well for the centerpiece, which is actually a big shoot of bamboo that we put right in the middle with the glass surrounding it. I've seen this in a few buildings in real life, and I always thought that's a pretty cool aspect to have in a place like this, so we've put that in there. And I've put in a lot of different shops as well, in information centers and conservation boards, and just try to make it look as relevant to the space as I could. And I think it turned out really nice. By the end of this, when you see the cinematics, I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. It was loads of fun to build, and I think fits this area really, really well. Now, aside from this particular build, we don't do an awful lot this episode. I'm thinking we might do a mini episode between this and next where I start putting in lights all over the park, because I've kind of neglected that. So at night time everything's a bit dark, and I think having some new lights would be really, really cool. Anyways, aside from Bumi Reptile Sanctuary, this weekend I'm going over to Singapore, which is the country right next door to me. And Singapore, what I'm going to be doing there is I'm going to all the different wildlife parks. There's 4 under Singapore Wildlife Reserves. There's the Singapore Zoo, the Night Safari, the River Safari, and the Bird Park. So I'm going to be checking out all 4 of those and hopefully getting a lot of inspiration. I'm going to record a lot of this footage while I'm there. All the different habitat designs, all the different architecture within the zoos and the parks. And I'll upload that here so that we get a good idea of what they do there, what it's like. I'm really excited because Singapore Zoo is one of the best in the world. I believe I read an article recently that puts it at number 2, I think, in the world, like the second best. I can't remember what the first one is. It's something in the US. But I've always loved Singapore Zoo. I visited a couple of times when I was younger, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing it again. I just think the way they handle the animals, their welfare, their conservation efforts, it's all really, really impressive stuff, and I'm quite looking forward to this visit. I think it's going to be really cool. Hopefully I'll get a lot of really good footage for the channel, and I'll upload it, and we'll see how it goes. I'm really quite looking forward to that. Aside from that, I don't actually have that much to say, to be honest. This is going to be quite a short voiceover. You may notice in the cinematics as well, before and after the main footage, that we have had quite a few babies in the park. We've had some of the tortoises give birth, we've had the Komodo dragons give birth as well, and I really like that. I thought that was really cute, that we have some babies. We do have a bit of an overpopulation problem, especially when it comes to the birds. The flamingos have massively overpopulated. We started off with like 12, I think, and now we have 30 going on strong. They're breeding consistently, so I think we may have a bit of a problem there. I suppose that's just natural and part of the whole management aspect of this game. Speaking of this game, we're going to be getting a massive free update in later this month, on the 17th of December, and I'm really looking forward to that. That's a winter update, so we're going to get a lot of our bug fixes, a lot of quality of life changes, but also some new items. I believe there's a whole winter themed set. We got winter rocks, an ice path, some new enrichment, some new foliage for the tundra biome. Really looking forward to that. I don't use the tundra biome very much, but I think it'll be really fun nonetheless, and we're going to have a lot of really cool stuff. And there's rumors that there's going to be a DLC with it, with new animals. That's something I'm really excited about, because if you're talking Arctic animals, the animal I would most want is penguins. I love penguins, and that would fit nicely in Bumi Reptile Sanctuary. We could have a big indoor penguin habitat, because again, they're a bird and birds are reptiles. That would be really, really cool. I would absolutely love to do that. And I think the thing with penguins that probably made it difficult for them to be included is they have to make use of the water, their bodies of water, in a volumetric way. As of right now, the animals in the game only use the water in 2 ways. They either swim on the surface, like the crocodiles, or they're like the hippos, which walk on the bottom of the rivers. But none of the animals currently swim through the water in a 3D kind of manner. And I think with penguins, that's an absolutely essential thing. And hopefully if we get them, they're able to move through the water as they do in real life, in kind of again, a 3D manner. They use it volumetrically, and that would be so cool. I think penguins have been missing from this game. They're a great addition if we do get them. Obviously, I'm not sure. I don't really exactly have insider information, but penguins would be great. Another one that would be quite cool is polar bears. They're super endangered. They're almost the poster boy for global warming at the moment, because they're kind of most at risk of climate change as the ice caps melt and humans encroach on their territory, etc., etc. It's not the best situation they're in, but we're doing our best to help them out, and we can always be doing better. So I do implore you, if you're interested, go look up conservation efforts, see how you can help. See what zoos are doing as well, because polar bears are quite difficult to be kept in captivity, really. And there are some places in the world where they're kept quite poorly, which is really a shame. But there are zoos that do them well. And in fact, I believe they do have polar bears in either Singapore Zoo or the River Safari in Singapore. So I'll be checking them out this weekend as well. And I'll see how they're doing. Hopefully they do have good welfare. Like I said, they're one of the best zoos in the world, so I don't have any doubts really, but it'd still be a good thing to have a look and just see how it's done, and if it's done well, how it's done well. So that would be quite cool. But yeah, that's kind of what I hope we get as an Arctic or winter DLC. That'll be quite fun. Other than that, I'm thinking of uploading some Jurassic World Evolution to the site, to this channel. I've just played through the Return to Jurassic Park campaign on Jurassic World Evolution, and I'm thinking of maybe doing a Sandbox build on one of the new islands with a lot of the original Jurassic Park designs. I think that will be really, really cool. Would have lots of fun with that, and I might upload that sometime next week. But again, I'm not really sure how I'll do that, because for the Planet Zoo build, I can do time lapses quite easily because there's a lot of work involved. It takes a lot of time to build a habitat or a build. But in Jurassic World Evolution, it's a bit trickier because it's a little bit more simplistic in terms of building, well, quite a lot more simplistic in terms of building mechanisms and creativity. There's only really so much you can do within the game. Don't get me wrong, it's one of my favorite games. I still really love it, but creative-wise, it is definitely a lot more limited than Planet Zoo, so time lapses would be a lot shorter. Which would make for shorter videos, which I don't mind at all. I think they'd just be a bit easier to edit, to be honest. But again, I don't know if it's worth doing a live play as opposed to a time-lapse. But I'll figure it out, and once I do, I'll make a video or two. And they might be even quite short series, because Jurassic World Evolution, just whenever I build a map, it doesn't take anywhere near as long as I do with Planet Zoo, because Planet Zoo, again, it's a lot more in-depth. And I think a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that Planet Zoo is more of a PC game. Well, I mean, it's purely a PC game, whereas Jurassic World Evolution has to cater to consoles as well, so you can't get as in-depth a management system. Can you imagine trying to use all the building mechanisms in Planet Zoo with a controller? That would be... Well, maybe people could do it, to be honest, I don't know. But I would find that tremendously difficult without the control of a keyboard and a mouse. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, just props to the developers of Jurassic World Evolution and Planet Zoo. They're my favorite game developers out there, Frontier. They do such good work. They really listen to their fans. They really listen to the people who play the game, and they really take into consideration what people want and what people need and what people are not so happy with. And yeah, just props to them. They do such excellent work, and really what other game developers should look up to if they're doing this sort of genre of work. Really happy with how they do everything. And that's about it for my voiceover for this part. I'm going to leave you with the music and you can enjoy the rest of the build. Hopefully you enjoy watching this as much as I enjoy building it. And other than that, if you like this content, feel free to subscribe. I'll be putting out probably more videos next week, and hopefully the Singapore Zoo video as well. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!